Good morning. You're welcome to the week 2 of our training video. So today we'll be looking at data cleaning and validation. We'll be looking at data cleaning and validation. And I want you to pay attention to what we are going to be talking about today. So let's go ahead to go and look at the data we'll be using today. Okay. All right. We'll be making use of this data to do some data cleaning and validation. This is the data we have. The data is about 509 data. No, this should be like 508 data that we have aside the headings that we have here. And if you look at this data, we can say this data is a semi-structured data. And the reason why it is semi-structured data is because you can see it's having a row cell here that is empty. This is also a row cell that is empty at this point. It is also empty at this point. And also aside that, you can see that some of the words here, like the B2s, is written in uppercase and lowercase. If you look at this, even the space in between are more. It's not one line spacings. We are having more than 2 line spacings here. Also in this page, you can see it's starting from the beginning. It's just showing all of those parameters. Some are in uppercase, some are in lowercase. So we are going to be structuring this data. And why we structure this data is because we want to have a clean data before we begin to do some transformation to the data. And in our previous classes, we have been taught about different kinds of data that we have. Like we said, we can have a structured data, we can have a semi-structured data, and we can have an unstructured data. And we said that the structured data is the one that is already clean, it's well structured, that we can go ahead to do some data visualization. But for this unstructured, you see that there are some aspects that are structured in it, like this here now is having a column for year, this is having a column for album, this is having a column for artist. So it's having some little structures in it, but as well there are some things that are not also well structured in it. So because there is no way you can analyze data like this where you are still having your blank spaces, because these blank spaces will still going to be used for analysis. So it's expected to close up these blank spaces for you to have a good structured data. So this data we have is a semi-structured data. So we'll be looking at how we can structure this data rightly and be able to analyze it. So the first thing we'll do is to do a fit to our column. We want to do a fit to these column cells. If you observe, you will see that in these column cells there are some of those words that are entering each other like that. They are entering each other. If I drag this here, you see there are some words that are entering each other. So for me to do that, what I will simply do is to just select this, then I can just come here and apply. Come here and apply. You can see is expanding it just this way. I have it is expanding it to fit. Now the reason why it's expanding it that way is you can see is more than the required spacing for the screen that we have. And when it's doing a fit to the column, what it will simply do is going to identify the longest cells that have some words in it. And if I should scroll down from here, you will see that in this place now, let's look at the longest cell in this column. That is what you used to. Now can you see this? This is showing nugget original artifact from the first. This one is the longest. So is going to identify the longest words, that the longest data that you have in that cell, and use it to fit the column. The same way to this artist. In this artist, you see, we are going to see the longest as well. This is the longest. This one is showing the longest as well, and it also applies to the other ones that we have there. So, but this is too long. We might not be able to be seeing all our screen at a go. So what I'll simply do is to just adjust it. Let me adjust this in a way that we'll be able to see all our data. Okay, I can adjust this. I want to see all my data. This is too long. Let me just adjust it in a way I can see all my data. Okay. Okay, I think this is preferable. So I can apply that to fitting depending on the kind of data that I have. Alright, let's try to remove the blank spaces. For us to remove the blank spaces, the first thing we do is to just select. Let's select our data. Once I select the data, because I want to remove the blank spaces, I've selected all the data here. I can select this data the way I've just selected it here, or I'll simply just come to this particular place and just drag it down to just select it at a go. So I can also use this to just select it. Now, you can see this selection I made. This selection is going to select everything that I have there. But what I needed is just the data alone. So I'm just going to select the data alone. Let me come down. I'm selecting the data now. I have about 508 data. So once I select it this way, I'll go to the Home tab. From the Home tab, I'll go to Special. I'll go to Find and Replace. Then I'll go to Special. Once I go to Special, then I'll say remove this blank space that I have here. This is Special. Then I can say remove blank space. I will select this blank space. I will click it. Then once I click OK, it will automatically remove all of these blank spaces that I have here. So once I do this, you can see it has identified the blank spaces that I have. If I scroll down, it has identified each of the blank spaces that I have here. So what I'll simply do is to just right click, then it will automatically remove the blank spaces that I have. And the blank spaces is my entire row that is selected. Now, can you see what I've done here? So from here now, if I should just come down, you see that my data will have been reduced. I'm going to be having my data to be reduced. My data have been reduced to 504. Here I'm having 504 data already. So that is how to just remove blank spaces. So in this case, there's no blank spaces in what I'm having in my data. So blank spaces has automatically been deleted from here. And one thing we should also observe is that blank spaces is different from blank cells. When they're having blank cells here, let's say for instance, okay, let's look at this data, whether there are blank cells that we have. It is also possible for us to have a blank cells. When we have a blank cells, let's say for instance, this rock is not here. This is a blank cell. In this blank cell, you cannot delete the entire row in this, and you cannot delete this cell. If you delete the entire row, it means that there are some informations that are contained in the other rows that you'll be deleting, in the other cells that you'll be deleting, that might affect the presentation of your data and also your analysis. And if you delete this cell itself, this cell that you are deleting will also affect this particular one, because if I delete this cell, automatically the other data in the other set will shift upward, and by that case your data will not be able to align to the cell. So as a data analyst, when you encounter this kind of challenge, what you simply do is to just ask the organizations or to ask the data department to provide you this particular data to fill up this space. You can't just delete it, because if you delete it, or for them to tell you the data collection department will be able to provide the information that is there in case the information is not there, so you can have a complete analysis of your data. So whenever we encounter such, please don't let us to just go ahead to just delete. It's going to affect our analysis, so we won't do such cases. All right, let's go ahead to look at how to check for duplicate, and also how to remove our duplicate. So in this case now, I can just select again. I want to remove some duplicate from this place. Let me select it. I can just select like this. Then I come to my data. From my data, once that is selected, I come to my data. Then I'll go to remove duplicate. And you see where the remove duplicate is under the group called the data tool. So I'll just click on duplicate, because we don't want to have duplicate in this data. Now when we are talking about duplicate, if you look at this is rock like this. Now is a duplicate, but we cannot, it is not going to delete this kind of duplicate. The duplicate we are talking about is the duplicate that is entered in the entire row. So if what I have here at this last end here and all the same, just like the way we are having a cleaning, outcomes, hip hop, reggae, all of these ones now, they are duplicates. These are duplicates because all the entire row here contains the same data that is also contained in another row. So we can refer this as a duplicate. So what I will simply do is to just come here and say remove duplicate. Here I have heading, all the headings are selected. So I'll just say remove duplicate. Here it's saying one duplicate value found and remove. So this is going to remove the duplicate I'm having there. So automatically I can still check through to ensure that all my duplicates has been removed. Now can you see that I have Akumini outcast? This was Akumini outcast. I have it like 2, but in this case now it has already been removed. So there are no duplicates to this data that we are having again, not like the way we have it before. So we are not having any duplicate here. Alright, because the other data we are having in the cells are different from each other, so there are no duplicates. So I can go ahead to also remove duplicates. If you don't remove duplicates in your data, when you are presenting your data, you'll be having different correlations in different data, and that might not represent your data very, very well. So let's look at some other things that we can also do here. Let's see how we can format this artist. Then we'll look at other things that we can apply to it. So in this artist, I want to format these particular columns. What I'll simply do is to just insert another column here. This insert column here, I can say I want to format this particular columns that I have. Here I say equals to trim now, and I come here. It's going to trim by removing the spaces that I have here. So when I come here, C2, then I just enter. Can you see it? This is showing the B2s. So here I can just come down. Can you see all the parameters that I have here? Can you see that? Can you see what I have here? So this is showing that now it has adjusted all of the spaces that I'm having. It has adjusted it. Now look at where I have Michael Jackson. This is already shifted. It has shifted it to the left. All the data that I have there has been shifted to the left and aligned properly. So this one now I've used Stream to do all of those parameters in it. I have used Stream to do that. Another what I can use is lower. Lower will help you to convert the word to lowercase. It will help to convert all the words to lowercase. So if I choose to click here and I do this, can you see everything is in lowercase? But in this case, it has not done any forms of trimming to this one. What it did is to just convert everything to lowercase. That's what it has done. Okay, so I think let's just go back. Train will help me to adjust it. I come here, do like this, then help me to adjust this particular column. Now this has been adjusted. Let's create another column. Let's say insert. I want to insert the entire row here. No, sorry. I want to create another column. Insert column. Here, this is what I have. I can say equals to. This is the particular column I really want to work on, but I have done this already. So here I can say upper. In upper, let me adjust this. Okay, let me do lower first, then we'll also do upper. Let me adjust this to lowercase. In this case now, this is a lowercase. So it has aligned all my work. So I'm applying this one now. I'm not applying this because this has already helped me to align my work appropriately using just one line spacing. So I can choose to also create another one. Let's say insert entire column. Here, let's use upper. It will do everything to uppercase. Convert to uppercase. Yeah, these are all in uppercase. Can you see what we have? We have uppercase. Maybe we should just call this artist. Let's call this artist 1. Artist 1. Let's call this artist 2. Artist 2. Let's call this artist 3. Okay, let's leave it this way. Alright, let's move further. I can still create another column. Insert entire column. Then come down. Okay, let's call it artist. Let's call this artist 4. So in this case now, there is something we call proper. Proper is the one that will help you to align this, not in upper or lower case, but to help you to align it by starting the words with uppercase, then the rest lowercase. So it will align it appropriately, and that is called proper. Use the word proper. This is proper. Then this, so I'm applying it to artist 3. If I do this, can you see this aligns well? The Bluetooth. So if I should just select it, can you see this has done a justice to this particular data that I have there. So this is a good concept. This have a good representation than this one that I'm having here. So what I will just simply do, if you look at this now, you will see under my O, you will see under my O, this is showing a data label of general. If I do this, you see that this is showing the formula. The formula is showing here, showing trim T2. That means this data is dependent on this data. If I come here, you see that this is showing lower, this data is dependent on this data. So if I delete this data, it's going to affect this data. The same way, if I delete this data, if I delete this data, it's going to affect this data. If I delete this data, it's going to affect this data. But this is the data I need. I don't need all of this data again. So what I will simply do to this kind of data is to select all the data, then I will copy. When I want to paste the data here, because this is where I actually want the data, I will just say paste special. You are going to paste using special, paste special. So once I click on special, I'm going to paste by value. All right, let me go back so that you see it. Once you just copy, you come here, select it, and say paste special. You click the arrow. What are you pasting on? By value. I'm pasting this by value. So if I click this, it will not reflect the formula that particular cell is carrying anymore. So once I paste it, it will automatically just replace it. So if I click this one now, you see that there is no formula that is coming with it anymore. No formula. So once that is done, the next thing I'll just do is to just delete these particular cells that I have here, because I don't need them anymore. So I can just select it, then go to delete. Now I have come back to where my work is. So this is what we have as artists. Can you see this is much more presentable as compared to the other data that I used or that I have. This is much more presentable, much more presentable. Okay, so let's begin to format. Here, let me select this. I can select my heading, just apply some okay, let me make my heading a bit bold. I say let me apply some things to my heading. Okay, I can say bold this way. So this is my heading. Then I can choose to apply some colors to this one, but it is better to just put all of this to a standard table so that it will give you a good presentation of your work, and it will help you to adjust your work appropriately. So if I want to put this in a standard table, what I will simply do is to just select, I want to have this in a standard table. And don't forget, in our live class, I talk about the standard table and the pivot table. I gave it a difference between two of them. Please go back to look at the recording session for it and be able to use it appropriately. So here, this is the standard table, this is the pivot table. So you go to insert, then you go to standard table. So once I click on my standard table, sorry, I've got, okay, table, you see what is going to apply to it. So it has selected all of the data that I have here. And it says I have my table as header. Yes, I have header. This is the header of my table. I can just say OK. So once I say OK, you can see this is very much presentable. So I can choose to format it in different forms. Maybe I can choose to just apply something like this to my work. I can come down, apply a dark shade. This particular place is for the light shade. This is the medium shade, and this is the dark shade. So say I want to apply I need a shade that is sharp. Okay, I think this is a bit preferable. This shade is a bit preferable, so I can use this shade. I can also choose maybe to make it bold so that people can actually see what my data is having. Okay, so I can have this. So you can see this is giving a very good representation. So in this case now, maybe I might not begin to do some functionalities to these and apply some things to what I need to do here. First thing I will do is, okay, let me apply, this is total sales. Let's say the total sales is in dollar. Let's apply dollar to it. You can see it's in dollar. I don't need decimal points. So let's have it that way. So it's dollar. I have just applied the currency sign to it. This is what I have. So let's say I want to know the sales that I have, that they have in, for instance, let's say 1965, 1969, and 1975. What I'll simply do is to click here. Then I'll come here and go to 1965. I want to know the sales for 1965. So I can just uncheck this, go to the sales for 1965. I want to know for 1969. I want to also know the sales for this particular year, 1975. So to just select these sales that I have for that particular year. Can you see? It's just selecting from 1965, 1969, and 1975. This is all what I have in that place. You can see my data reduced to 499 because that is the data that is just selecting. If I say no, I just want to know the sales for only 1955. 1955, I only have just this one sales, and the total sales is this is about 8 million plus. I can also choose to say no. Let me see for 1960 as well, to do a comparison between them, so I can have all of this. So as I'm doing all of this, also I can also make a representation of this in a graph form, depending on how I want my data to be analyzed. So if I look at that, I can do all of those things. I can choose to come here and sort, maybe sort by colors, sort by lowest to highest, sort by largest to smallest, and all of that. So all of this that we are doing is what we call filter. If I want to filter and say, help me to filter the top 10, I can just come here, say top 10 word item. I want to know the top 10 item. This is it. So the top 10 is on 2006, 2007, 2010. That is when we have the highest sales. These are the top 10 that we have. So I can choose to do all of those things and apply it to my work. So I can apply all of those things to my work depending on what I want to filter out. So here I'm back to my data. I can choose to also come album and say no, I want to know the album for only 12 songs. For 12 songs, this is what I have. I can still choose to say that I want to know the artist that falls under Abat King. I will just select this artist that falls under Abat King. Yeah, Abat King is just, these are just one artist that falls under Abat King. So I can do all of those manipulations through my work. Then maybe I want to say, okay, I want to see the sales, I want to see the total sales. Let me filter by top 10, top 10 in the total sales. This is it. These are the top 10. You can see they are arranged in these total sales that I have here. So those are part of the computations that I can do to it. Now, whenever you have any of your data that have been filtered, you will see something like a box here, a cup here. Can you see when my mouse is selecting something like a cup? But if it has not been filtered, you will see it like an arrow down like this. You see it like an arrow down. So let me just remove my filter. I can choose to just cancel the filter so that I can show all of the details that I have. Alright, so moving forward from here, we have choose to do all of this. Okay, let's do our find and replace. Okay, let me select this. If I want to do find and replace, I'll come to find and select and say find and replace. Here, let's say I have rock. This is rock. I want rock to be replaced with okay, let me still retain it as R and B. You see that all the rock will be replaced. So here I can choose to replace some details. If I'm replacing some details, I can say replace. And if I'm choosing to replace some of those details one by one, I can choose find next. But if I say replace all anywhere we see rock is going to be replacing it with R and B. So I'll just say rocks. Here is all done. We made 351 replacements like this. So I can have all of these replacements in my data. I can have all of that replacement in my data. So that's so important to us. Okay, let's move further. Now let's move further to how to freeze. If I want to freeze, for instance, I'll go to if I want to freeze, I'll go to view. In my view, I'll go to freeze pan. Now what that freeze does is to enable you to see the heading of the information or some particular data that you want to see while you are strolling in between the sheets. So if I want just to be seeing all my heading while I'm strolling, for instance, if I scroll down now, you see that this my heading that I'm having here will automatically disappear. So once I come here, can you see that you can't see the heading again? You can't see the heading except I scroll up. So if I go to freeze pan, I can say freeze the top row. The freeze the top row will enable me to just station that heading so that when I'm strolling within the worksheet, I can see my headings. Now let's scroll down. Can you see that it's station? Can you see? Because I have freeze it. The station because I have freeze it. So the same way I can also choose to freeze a particular side of it like this. Let's say I just come here and say freeze the first column because that's what I've selected. I can do this. So if I come here, you will see that when I'm moving, can you see that it's station? It's station. It's not moving anywhere. So I can come back, station, depending on this. But just the way it has station, can you see the heading of that one has gone? Because I have only applied to this one. Okay, so that is how that is done. Then also I can also choose to freeze a particular, let's say I select this now. I can say help me to let me unfreeze and say freeze pan because of where I've selected. Can you see here? Can you see that this is station? because I have selected this particular part. So it's going to station it. It's going to station that part. Can you see? Because that's what I've selected. So you can just scroll down because I selected this. So it's saying that when it's moving towards the left side, station these two columns, and when it's moving up, station all the data that is before it. It will station it. So this will station it that way. So if I'm moving this way also, you see that my words are stationed. And you see it. I'm moving towards the right station. So this is not moving anywhere. Okay, so that is how to freeze our pan. Because sometimes it might require us to do a presentation from our data. So you must ensure that as you are doing your presentation to understand what your audience is saying and some particular data you want them to see on some particular data you want them to see on the worksheet. So that is how we fix. Okay, I've talked about the standard table. I've talked about the freezing. I've talked about how to use our lower, upper, proper, our trim, and all that. We have talked about all of those things. So we can also choose to enter data. Okay, let's see how to enter data. Then before we enter the validation proper, let's say I just enter data here. Let me choose to enter 1999. It automatically extends this thing that I have. Can you see? Let's have a 1999. Here in 1999, the song is let's say Beautiful Day. The album is called Beautiful Day, and the artist is Bob Marley. Let's say that's the artist, and this is R&B. Just extending it. So here, it is reggae. Then let's say we have about 9 million. Yeah, automatically can see. So it will keep extending it because I have already formatted this, so I can have all of those data in there for me. So that is all about data cleaning and validation. So when you see your data as a data analyst, first of all, study your data and look at how you are going to clean your data. If you look at this data has already been cleaned. This is a clean data. We have a clean data already. So let's talk about data validation. Let's talk about data validation. So for data validation, maybe let me try to enter some details here. For data validation, we are going to be, let me add account name. This will automatically format it. Let me extend it. Let me add account name, bank name, okay, account name, bank name. Then let me add here, for instance. Okay, yeah. So I can have things like this. Let me shift this up so that you can see properly. This is bank name, and I have so this is what I have. Here we'll just be talking about data validation, and what data validation helps us to do is a way of guiding users what to enter into a particular cell or what to enter into a particular a particular box in a data, so that nobody will just be entering anything they like into the data. So let me use some of these things to just explain it. Let me go to our Google form. So I'm going to use that to just explain some things on data validation, so that you'll be able to have a better understanding on what data validation is. So let me use the form for registration for this course, for this cohort. Okay, I'm loading the form already. I just want to see the data. Please try to look at all your resource video and ensure that you understand all those resource videos. Some of these things I'm explaining is already been captured in the resource video. So please try and look at it. Okay. I think I'm having challenges with network. This is not loading. I needed to just explain some things on data validation. Okay, what data validation is basically to just guide users on what to enter in a particular sheet or a particular box that is being given, so that the users will not be entering a wrong data that might not help in your data. They will not enter a wrong data that might not help in your data validation. Because for instance, if we say that we should allow users to enter account number. Okay, this is account name. Let me change it to account number. If you say we want users to enter account number, there are some of those users that is going to be entering account number that is 9. Some is going to be entering account number that is 11. And we know our account number is meant to be 10 digits. Some may enter lesser, some may enter more than that number of digits. In fact, our account number is meant to be a whole number. Some can have that account number to be alphanumeric, combining it with alphabet. So sometimes you guide the user on how to enter some of those details into it, so that the wrong details will not be entered into the cells. And that's what data validation is all about. Oh, this is not playing at this moment. Okay, let's still go ahead. I'll try my possible best to just explain with the available data that I have. Okay, so let's see the bank account number. For instance, we know that account number is meant to be 10 digits, right? So what I will just do is to just select this, and I will go to just select this, then I'll go to data where I have data. This is data because it's called data validation. Your validation is under your data too. So this is data validation. So I have selected this, then I'll just click on this list and say data validation. Now in this data validation, I'm going to say a data validation can be a whole number, can be a digit, decimal number, can be a list, can be a date, can be a time, and all that. So you can choose to use any of this. But we know that our account number does not have decimal. It is not a list, it is not a date, it is not a time. Our account number is meant to be a whole number. I cannot say, if I say any value, it means that anything that the user enters is going to accept it. So it must always be a whole number. So when I say a whole number, I want the whole number to be between a particular value and a maximum of particular value at account number. Do I want the whole number to be not between? Do I want it to be equal to? Do I want it not to be equal to? Do I want it to be greater than, less than, and all of that? So for account number, we use equal to. So equal to means what value I want to use for my account number. The value is going to be 10 digits. That's what I'm going to use for my account number. That's the value. In this case now, let me look at it. So in this case, that's the value of the account number that I want to use. That should be 10. So if I do this, it will come here. Then I will enter some values. Let's say I enter 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is 9. I enter 0. So in this case, this value does not match the data validation defined or for the cell. Why? Okay, let's look at it. Okay, it's taking that particular value. Okay. Please hold on. I'm coming. All right. Let's go back. Data validation. I want O number 10. O number to be equals to okay, let me set this minimum of 10 number and maximum of 10. So I can choose to do this. Let me see. I enter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. Yeah, this is giving an error. So this means that it must be 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, let me go back. Let me go back. Okay. Let me look at the list of what I have. Whole number. Okay, the parameters. This is meant to be whole number. Lists. No, I'm not talking about list. Text length. Text length should be equals to 10. Then I have this. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This should give error. Okay. 9, 10. Yeah, this is fine. This is just saying it's 10 digits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this is also 10 digits. So any digit that is more than this, let me add 9 to this one and see what it's going to give me. This is an error. This is an error. This does not match. Okay. So this set this data validation for account number. So a user will not enter any digit that is less than 10 or above 10. So I will just do data validation. Then I'll go to text length. And I'll say data should be equals to the text length, which is 10. So it must all be 10 that you can enter. So another thing we do under data validation is this input message and the error message. When we look at the input message is what will be shown to the user before he type any data into the cell. While the error message is what will be shown to the user after the user have typed some error message into the cell. So for the input message, I can say account. Okay, I can say account digit, saying title. So let the message be enter 10 digit account number. Enter 10 digit number as your account number. As your account number. So I can just set this. Enter 10 digits number as your account number. I can also add not less than or greater than 10 numbers. something like that. So here, can you see that immediately I click here, it just gives me that enter account digit, enter 10-digit number as your account number, not less than this or greater than 10. So whatever I need to enter must be in that range alone. Anything more than that range is not going to accept it at all. It's not going to accept it. Now let's go and set for the error message. If I want to set for the error message, I'll go to error alert. I can say I2. I can say wrong account number. I can say wrong account number. Check. I can say ensure that the number is exactly 10 digits. So I can just do this. So once I come here, let's say now this is giving me because it's right. This is also giving because it's right. Let's enter a digit that is lesser than 10. Now this is about 8 digits. Now let's see what it's going to say. Error. It say wrong account number. Ensure that the number is exactly 10 digits. So this is what data validation does, to just guide the user. It will not allow the user to enter that wrong data into it. So in data validation, it enables the user and avoid user entering the wrong data into it, because data that the user is seeing as account number, they might choose to enter account number that is less than 10 digits or above 10 digits. Now, let's look at the account name. How do I apply this to my data? Let's say I want users to enter account name. You know, when users want to enter account name, some of them they can do GT Bank. Some can come here and say Fidelity Bank. Some can come here and say Zenith Bank. Some can do like this. Now, can you see that when I'm entering these things now, they are not properly in order. Some is in lower uppercase, some is in lower case, some is starting with a lower case and all of that. So instead of to have it in this way, I can guide a user to enter the right account number. I can guide the user to enter the right account number. So what I will just simply do is to just come somewhere here and type all the banks that I want them to enter. Maybe I want them to enter GT Bank. Okay, FCME. Please follow me. Providus Bank. Which other banks do we have? UBA Bank. Which other bank? Lotus Bank. We have Fidelity Bank. We have Access Bank. Now, can you see that I need it to align? So if I want to apply data validation to this, let's remove this entirely. If I want to apply data validation so that my user can enter the right data into it, what I'll just simply do is to just come here, select this, then come to my data validation and say in under setting, I'm going to say this is a list. I have a list of what I want it to do. Then where is the source of the list? This is the source. I want to get the source from here. Now, as I'm pressing it, can you see that it's aligning it here at this point, saying from L5 to this L11. So here, it should just show me something like this. So in this case now, I can just say okay. in this place. So if my user comes back, he cannot enter any details here. If you enter any details here, it will not be right. So what the user need to do is to just select and pick FCMB, Providus, come to the next one. You can pick any of those details. You can pick all of these things. So as a data analyst, if I'm doing something like this, what I will just simply do for me to have a proper view, this one that I'm having here, I can choose to go and add it somewhere. Maybe I can choose to just take it like this and eat it very far from where I'm going to place it. I can choose to just place it here. Or I can entirely put it on a different sheet entirely, so that when I'm doing my presentation of this, people will not be able to see it, or when users need to enter it, because this is what is validating this particular place. So it will keep validating, and choose. So I can't enter. So this one at the end of the day, when my data is being collated, I already have a data that is structured in this column. So that my data will not be scattered. My data will already be structured in this column. Another thing I can do here is that for instance, I can choose to just select. Let me come up here. I can choose to just select this entire row. So if I want to do a validation, so that I can be updating the details of what I will be having, so I can just come here and say data validation. Help me to choose a list. Let me remove all of this thing. In this my list now, I will come here to select this entire place. Can you see it? So it has selected everything that I have from beginning to the end. So here I can say okay. Now what this will help me to do is that I can update this file. So once I update this file, it will automatically update with some of the details that we are going to be adding here. Let's say I want to have okay, which other bank can we use now? Let's say OP, for instance. If you look at this place now, if I say I want to enter OP is not part of the list of what we have here. But this will give you an accommodation to enter OP because I have made provisions for some blank cells. So in this column now, if I say OP, now it automatically updates it for me. So if I scroll down, I'm going to see OP. So I can pick. If I say Kuda, in this place now, it will have updated Kuda for me. This is also part of data validation. Okay, the last one for you. Now let's say I want my user to enter some details for a year, for instance. If I want them to enter some details for the year here in this column, and I want that details, maybe I want the details to just be for those to enter the year between 2010 and 2025 that we have now. Maybe that's the year I want them to enter. Maybe I'm considering people within that year, people that are born within that year, 2010 and 2005. So what I would do is to just come here, come to data validation. In my data validation, I can say I want a O value. In this my O value, I can say minimum should be 2010, the maximum should be 2025. That's the year that I want to. And you can choose to set your input message to display before the user will enter it. I can say year of birth. Here I can say year of birth should year of birth should be between 2010 to 2025. I can come to the alert message and say uh, error, wrong. Okay, I can just say wrong date of birth. Wrong date of birth. Here I can say please enter the right date of birth between 2010 to 2025. So I can click this. Now, once I click this, you see, it's a year of birth. Year of birth should be between 2010 and 20. So I can say 2013. It will allow 2019. 2029, it will not allow. You can see it's saying, please enter the right date of birth between this. So it cannot allow 2029. So I can say 2015, 2025, 2018. If I say 2008, it will not allow because I have set that parameter. So that data validation will help you to do a guide to your data. It will give you a very good guide to your data and how to enter your data rightly when the user is selecting. So for this account name, account number, account name, the year, data validation has been performed on them. So when user needs to enter it, it has to enter it within the parameters that we use in setting data in each of the steps. So that is all about data validation. Please endeavor to go through it and you can do a replay as much as possible. Do have a wonderful day.